Well, I love poetry because it's a way of making pictures with words. So in a way, I feel it's a little bit magic that you can just say some things like a stately pleasure dome. See that? And you think, well, what's a pleasure dome? What would it look like? A great big dome like St. Paul's Cathedral or something, and then what's pleasure? Or maybe you'd go inside and be a bit like a theme park. And why is it stately? Is it a bit grand? And so I've made a picture, haven't I? Or maybe in Shakespeare, and he says, out, out, brief candle. What does that mean? Oh, he's going to blow the candle out. Why is it brief? Because it hasn't been on there long. It hasn't been burning long. You see? So the words paint the picture. Faster than fairies, faster than witches. So suddenly again, it's painting a picture of something going fast. And there's fairies and witches, and it's going fast, and it sounds a bit like a train. So again, you can do that with poetry. So you can make these pictures. And what have you got to make the pictures? Well, you've got words, you've got phrases, that's when you put several words together, and you've got rhythms and sounds. So we said, full fathom 5 thy father lies. So it's lots of f's in it there, you see. And so you can use the sounds you make with the words. And so I like all that. I like the freedom of poetry, that sometimes you can rhyme it, sometimes you don't have to rhyme it, sometimes it can be long, sometimes it can be short, sometimes you can write in sentences, sometimes you don't have to. So you're very free with how you do it. So by the time you put all that together, that's why I love poetry.
A Good Play by Robert Louis Stevenson. We built a ship upon the stairs, all made of the back bedroom chairs, and filled it full of soft pillows, to go a-sailing on the billows. We took a saw and several nails, and water in the nursery pails. And Tom said, let us also take an apple and a slice of cake, which was enough for Tom and me to go a-sailing on till tea. We sailed along for days and days, and had the very best of plays. But Tom fell out and hurt his knee, so there was no one left but me. Block City by Robert Louis Stevenson. What are you able to build with your blocks? Castles and palaces, temples and docks. Rain may keep raining and others go roam, but I can be happy and building at home. Let the sofa be mountains, the carpet be sea. There I'll establish a city for me, a kirk and a mill, and a palace beside, and a harbour as well, where my vessels may ride. Great is the palace, with pillar and wall, a sort of a tower on top of it all, and steps coming down in an orderly way to where my toy vessels lie safe in the bay. This one is sailing, and that one is moored. Hark to the sound of the sailors on board, and see on the steps of my palace the kings, coming and going with presents and things. Now I have done with it. Shoo, down let it go. All in a moment the town is laid low. Block upon block lying scattered and free. What is there left of my town by the sea? Yet as I saw it, I see it again. The kirk and the palace, the ships and the men. And as long as I live, and where'er I may be, I'll always remember my town by the sea. From a Railway Carriage by Robert Louis Stevenson. Faster than fairies, faster than witches, bridges and houses, hedges and ditches, and charging along like troops in a battle, all through the meadows, the horses and cattle, all of the sights of the hill and the plain, fly as thick as driving rain, and ever again in the wink of an eye, painted stations whistle by. Here is a child who clambers and scrambles, all by himself and gathering brambles. Here is a tramp who stands and gazes, and here is the green for stringing the daisies. Here is a cart run away in the road, lumping along with man and load. And here is a mill, and there is a river, each a glimpse and gone forever. The Jumblies by Edward Lear. They went to sea in a sieve, they did, in a sieve they went to sea. In spite of all their friends could say, on a winter's morn, on a stormy day, in a sieve they went to sea. And when the sieve turned round and round, and everyone cried, "You'll all be drowned," they called aloud, "Our sieve ain't big, but we don't care a button, we don't care a fig. In a sieve we'll go to sea." Far and few are the lands where the Jumblies live. Their heads are green and their hands are blue, and they went to sea in a sieve. They sailed away in a sieve, they did. In a sieve they sailed so fast, with only a beautiful pea-green veil, tied with a riband by way of a sail to a small tobacco pipe mast. And everyone said, who saw them go, "Oh, won't they soon be upset, you know? For the sky is dark and the voyage is long, and happen what may, it's extremely wrong in a sieve to sail so fast." Far and few are the lands where the Jumblies live. Their heads are green and their hands are blue, and they went to sea in a sieve. The water it soon came in, it did. The water it soon came in. So to keep them dry, they wrapped their feet in a pinky paper all folded neat, and they fastened it down with a pin. And they passed the night in a crockery jar, and each of them said, "How wise we are! Though the sky be dark and the voyage be long, yet we never can think we were rash or wrong, while round in our sieve we spin." Far and few are the lands where the Jumblies live. Their heads are green and their hands are blue, and they went to sea in a sieve. And all night long they sailed away, and when the sun went down, they whistled and warbled a moony song to the echoing sound of a coppery gong in the shade of the mountains brown. "Oh, Timballo, how happy we are, when we live in a sieve and a crockery jar, and all night long in the moonlight pale we sail away with a pea-green sail in the shade of the mountains brown." Far and few are the lands where the Jumblies live. Their heads are green and their hands are blue, and they went to sea in a sieve. They sailed to the western sea, they did, to a land all covered with trees. And they bought an owl, and a useful cart, and a pound of rice, and a cranberry tart, and a hive of silvery bees. And they bought a pig, and some green jackdaws, and a lovely monkey with lollipop paws, and 40 bottles of a ringbo-ree, and no end of Stilton cheese. Far and few are the lands where the Jumblies live. Their heads are green and their hands are blue, and they went to sea in a sieve. And in 20 years, they all came back, in 20 years or more, and everyone said, "How tall they've grown, for they've been to the lakes, and the torrible zone, and the hills of the Chankly Bore. And they drank their health, and gave them a feast of dumplings made of beautiful yeast. And everyone said, if we only live, we too will go to sea in a sieve, to the hills of the Chankly Bore." Far and few are the lands where the Jumblies live. Their heads are green and their hands are blue, and they went to sea in a sieve. I'm just going out. I'm just going out for a moment. Why? To make a cup of tea. Why? Because I'm thirsty. Why? Because it's hot. Why? Because the sun's shining. Why? Because it's summer. Why? Because that's when it is. Why? Why don't you stop saying why? Why? Tea time. That's why. High time you stopped saying why time. What? Acorn, Conker and Key. Hey, Acorn. Who do you think you are? A hard guy? You look like a little hard-boiled egg sitting in a cup. Well, I'm telling you, hard guy, a squirrel is going to find you, and if he doesn't eat you, he's going to bury you. Just because you're the start-out point for the tree that made the first ships to go right round the world, that doesn't mean you're a big shot. you're no circumnavigator. And you, Conker, always up for a fight, aren't you? Let me get at him, that's you. Ha, well, I know your little secret. There you are, lying about in your little greenhouse, and then, when the walls split, out you pop like you think you're some shiny new car cruising out of the garage. But I've seen inside your little greenhouse. You lie there for weeks all tucked up in a soft white bed, don't you? Ha! Hard man. Ha! But you, Sycamore Key, you're plain weird, just plain weird. You jive about in the air, jiving in the wind, cool moves, man. But then you lie on the ground in a heap with all the other jivers looking like a dead moth. There's hundreds of you, dead moths, lying there. You're weird. Where are you at? Now, it'd be great if you subscribed. That is, you become a subscriber. Look out for the subscribe button. What happens, you see, is that I make new vids every few months, and then I post them up one a week. So if you subscribe, you get to see the new ones just as they come hot off the press. Ew.